Hello, Alessandrina here, and today I thought it would be interesting to talk about fear and how to accelerate our process of releasing our fears. And at the same time, as we release our fears, we're more able, more capable, and also essentially it becomes easier for us to achieve our intentions and goals without so much pressure, without stress, without driving ourselves to achieve our intentions and goals. So, in the past, if you've listened to our videos before, you may have heard me talk about the process of analysis paralysis, meaning that we can spend a lifetime going over one fear after another, one belief after another, one expectation after another, and after another, and a judgment after another. And trying to understand each fear, understand each belief, understand each expectation, understand each judgment, and through that process of analysis, only then being willing to let go of the fear, the belief, the expectation, or the judgment. Now, that's not to say that there's not validity to this process of one by one resolving something in our psyche, in our system, in our energy that we haven't understood, and that is creating reactivity, stress, anxiety, anger, resentment, or whatever negative emotion might be generated through this process. So that's wonderful and valid and good. And there is an accelerated path where once you've had enough experience understanding your own process of fear, belief, expectation, judgment, which is the process of ego, you can actually kind of bypass this whole process of one by one understanding and clearing each thing as it comes up, and you can go straight to the point. So you can, if you re-reference the video Jacket of Fear, where essentially I was offering a path where whenever you get in a state of fear, you just choose to not feel fear. So it's not a process of suppression. It's not a process of, oh no, I don't have that fear, I'm not feeling it. It's really recognizing what it feels like when we're wearing the jacket of fear, when we are in a state of fear, what our body feels like, what our mind feels like, what our emotions feel like, what our energy state is like. And when we connect in this way, and we're also aware and conscious of other states of consciousness that we've been in the past, where we have been present and aware and without fear, then we have that contrast, we have that understanding, and so we can easily just shift out of the state of fear that we're in and take off the jacket. So it's a process. Someone asked a question like, how do I take off this jacket of fear? And it's understandable that one would ask this question. And ultimately, it's not really about how do I take it off as much as it is choosing to take it off. And by making that choice over and over again without suppression, by understanding what it feels like not to be in fear and choosing that state in the moments of fear, you are transmuting the energy. So instead of applying a process, you are directly facing the fear, holding the space of fearlessness, and through that process transmuting the energy of fear. Again, it's useful in that process to be very humble and vulnerable in your process of assessment, to ensure that you're not actually suppressing or repressing the fear. So it's kind of like a progressive process. As you apply it, you learn to do it more and more, and of course you will know if the fear has been released, because if another situation occurs that is triggering and that fear would come up in those moments, well, if it comes up again, it means that actually you didn't really take off the jacket of fear. You actually suppressed the fear and just went on, in a different direction with a different perspective, or in a different part of your system, because the fear can be held in a specific part of our system, and then we can kind of like the fear can hide itself from us, or we can go into a different part that doesn't feel the fear, thinking that we actually clear the fear. So another metaphor that John Jones, our wonderful spiritual teacher, had shared with us many years ago is this concept of just jumping on the roof. If you want to be on the roof, to just jump on the roof. And I may have referenced that in a prior video, and today it came to me to really go deeper into that idea, that concept, so that you can also experiment with it. In the same way that you take off the jacket of fear, if you have an intention, if there is a state of beingness that you wish to embody, to experience, to explore, to feel, to become, then choosing, in the same way that you choose to take off the jacket of fear, choosing that quality, that energy, that state of consciousness, as if let's say you're on the ground and you want to be on the roof. Instead of going through the process of using a ladder, right, kind of like the climbing of the ladder of consciousness to get to the roof, you can just consciously choose to be on the roof. Now, I'm not saying, just like, for instance, the example of Jesus walking on water, I'm not saying that you're going to be on the roof instantly, because you may have many different beliefs that tell you that you can't, it can't happen, it's not possible. And here we're really talking about consciousness. So it's your consciousness that is essentially from the ground to the roof, and you can be there, and you can see, and you can perceive from that space and that reality, that state of consciousness. So when you realize that that is available to you, that, for instance, if you want to feel more joy, if you want to feel more peace, if you want to feel more gratitude, more happiness, more fulfillment in your life, more abundance, more health, that you don't have to wait and to go through a process, a step-by-step process, in order to get there. That you can actually choose consciously to be there and to experience yourself there, completely present in this moment in time, without having to change anything about yourself. Now, I'm not saying that the momentum of the past is not going to essentially surface in those moments where you're experimenting with consciousness, where you're exploring a different state of being, a different quality, a different energy, and choosing to be in that energy. The more you practice that, the more you allow yourself to directly get from one state of consciousness that could be a limited, painful, lacking, angry, kind of dense energy state of consciousness or state of energy, the more you practice going from that, directly choosing to be in the new state of consciousness, new state of energy, the more energy you're transmuting and moving. And the more momentum, as you do that over and over again, the more momentum you're building towards that new reality, towards that new state of consciousness, new state of energy. So the metaphor of just being on the roof, like snap, and I'm there, that metaphor is very helpful in those moments where you're feeling limited, you're feeling lack, you're feeling pain, you're feeling the weight and the density and the tension from the past in your present moment time, and you're realizing that is not what you want, and you're choosing in that moment to have a different experience. Now, going back to what I said at the beginning of this conversation, the resistance here, or the obstacle here, is often the mind. The mind will say, well, it's not happening, well, it can't happen, well, it's not going to last, well, something, is not going to go the way that I want it to go. And so constantly challenging the reality that you're actually embodying and experiencing. And when we do that, when we say it can't be, it's not happening, I don't believe it, and we stay stuck to the past, then we go back into that energy state. So being able to just jump on the roof and be there and feel yourself there is a practice. It's a process. It can take time. And I invite you to practice it and to embody the energy that you want to be in over and over and over again, so that you can actually really process out the past and the pain from the past from your subconscious. And then you can be focused in the present moment on the things that are important to you, meaningful to you, and you can experience them without having to wait for things externally to change for you to have the shift, for you to have the change, for you to have the experience that you're choosing, and that you are calling to yourself, and that is calling you. I hope this is helpful, and that you explore this deep process, and as you explore it, that you get wonderful experiences with this process, and that it really brings about a shift in your energy and in your life. Sending you much love.